Amazing. This is just another... Welcome to Bridget and Brookes talk about their cats. And also some other cats that they have seen.
Well, she makes me. But she won't leave me alone. Like, every meeting I ever do, like, being even in where we are, not like post-pandemic necessarily, but where we are and all that.
Yeah.
Like, so many meetings are still done online, which is great because I don't have to drive to campus some days because I can just, do the meetings online. But she thinks she has to be a part of every single one of them.
Well, yeah, she needs to know what's going on.
Yeah, she's like known in meetings. Like, she hops in my lap and I'll sometimes get like a private message on Zoom like, "Hi, Nix."
I absolutely love it. Hi, bud. You gonna sit up here for a little while? Well, welcome everybody. Now that we've chatted about cats for a red hot minute. Hey, bud. Anything else going on today
No.
that you feel
No.
like sharing? Make up your mind. You kept trying to get up here, now you keep trying to get down. You don't make sense to me, my little man.
I did finish building my second book nook today.
Oh, nice.
That's how productive I am. Which, every time I say that, people are like, "What is a book nook?" It's sitting right here.
Does this one also light up?
Yes, but I don't think I have it turned on. But I'm having issues with it. Like, it's supposed to turn on when you touch that. Oh, there it goes. But
Magic.
something about it, like, there's like some sort of short.
Magic. Back in the beanbag. There's like a little Ollie-sized, like, divot in the center of the beanbag at all times now.
Aww.
It's
Did I
delightful.
just figure out the secret? I just figured out the secret. You have to hold your second finger there for a second.
Oh.
I've been hitting it like that for 2 days. Ever since I installed the lights.
Proud owner of a PhD.
That's great. I actually said that in class yesterday. I don't remember what the context was, but I said something really stupid, and I was like, sometimes I have to remind myself, you have a PhD.
Doing great. That's why every time there's some tweet about having a PhD but still being stupid, I send it to you.
I was talking about buying googly eyes in bulk and going to the grocery store and putting them on, like, all the little characters on boxes.
Absolutely, yes, I will do this with you.
Yeah, it's hilarious. And I was encouraging it.
I think you should. I think you should encourage it.
Like, wait, how did we get there? Someone took the clock out of the classroom, and so somebody was saying I should get some of those giant googly eyes and put it in place of it.
Oh my god, wait, it's starting again?
That's, like, almost word for word what I said. Because I looked up and I was like, oh no, is it starting again?
Oh my god. For the uninitiated, the college that I attended, the college that Brooks teaches at, had a rash of clock stealings. People stole the wall clocks out of various academic buildings, and I was the TA for a journalism class where the professor told everyone to write a story about the missing clocks, and there was a bit of a kind of miscommunication or a disconnect where all of the students in the class seemed to think that they had been tasked with solving this mystery rather than, if the story is that the clocks are missing and no one knows why, that's the story. You write your article about that. But then the next semester, the same professor gave the same assignment to a fresh crop of students, and they actually figured out what was happening. Somebody in a frat was stealing clocks out of all the academic buildings on campus. So I'm wondering if it's the same frat, like hazing new pledges or something, like, hey, go get a clock from this building.
Yeah, I mean, so far it's the only one I'm aware of that's missing. Like, it's possible, well, I was gonna say it's possible facilities took it down to, like, fix it, but it was working fine, unless it stopped working between Thursday and Tuesday when I was back in that room.
I mean, possible.
But, like, I feel like that's not super likely.
Yeah.
I feel like someone took it.
I am inclined to agree.
The story that they wrote that they published in the Lamron, the student paper, wasn't there like a picture of like a big pile of clocks, or am I misremembering that? It's like a Mandela effect, I feel like.
Here's the thing. I have a lot of back issues of the Lamron because I wrote for them. That is not one of the ones I have.
Oh, it's a bummer.
I know. Because that was published after I was done, I think.
Oh, was it? I can't remember. Couldn't remember exactly when that was.
Yeah. I don't know. Anyway.
One of
Um,
my one of my favorite things that's happened at Geneseo since I started working there like
because it's
7 years
just
ago.
funny. That and the
Yeah.
people won't stop hitting the fountain.
Yeah.
Which again, for the uninitiated, this is absolute like it's hilarious in its stupidness because in the town of Geneseo there is a gigantic marble fountain in the middle of Main Street, like this huge decorative fountain with like a post coming out of it. And there's a statue of a little bear on top, and it's like a local landmark, and the bear has a
Line.
name and an Instagram account. It's awesome. The amount of times that people have driven directly into this gigantic bowl of granite is embarrassing. It's
Like,
not like you can't see it.
it happens so often. In the one year, and I can never remember when things happened, so I don't know if you were there at that point, but there was one year where somebody hit it. It was like, I think it was a semi that hit it. And it took a giant chunk out of the
I
fountain
remember
and
seeing it like
everyone
that.
like went skidding down the road. And so for I think it took like a year and a half, 2 years where Emmeline was at the Historical Society
Yeah.
and you just had this fountain with a chunk out of it until they went to the original quarry where they got the original piece of granite like over 100 years ago and got a new one.
And then didn't
Uh,
someone hit it within like 6 months?
but
It
then,
was
but
bad.
then
It still is. I'm
I,
sure it's happened again since I've left.
well, I was again, I never remember when exactly things happened, but I was at a restaurant on Main Street, the Euro Cafe, which is right directly in front of the
No,
fountain.
did you witness somebody hitting the fountain?
Well, so I was actually sitting by the window, like looking out, and someone was coming down Center Street, a truck, and right into it.
It's even
As
if
as
you
I
are
was watching.
turning onto the street, it's not like you can't see it. It is at like a T intersection. You
Yeah.
are staring directly at it as you come down the road, no matter which way you are approaching this from. I don't know how this keeps happening.
Well, the guy, so at least, I was actually there at that point. The guy, it turns out, he said that it was like the time of day where the sun was setting, and he said it was like directly in his eyes.
Okay.
We couldn't see it. But it's like, unless you've literally never been to Geneseo before, you
Yeah.
know that there's a giant fountain there.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a little bit hilarious. I'll be honest, the clock thing does very much irritate me though, because I kept looking at the clock that wasn't there, and I had to
Okay, yeah,
keep
that's a
looking.
pain. That's a pain in the ass. Any more weird stories from our small little school in upstate New York that we can share with the people?
I'm sure there's ones I just don't. I never think about them. Like the fountain wasn't in my head
Oh,
until you.
some guy climbed onto the like that dome, like that brick and metal dome cage structure outside of the science building and started dancing.
Oh, I didn't know about that.
I only saw it because somebody posted it on like publicly on like the Geneseo Snap map.
Huh. Yeah, I feel like there's something like that every now and then where somebody just does something very silly on campus, but I often don't find out about it unless the students have to be talking about it before class and I overhear.
I
You know,
still
they
follow
don't.
all the Geneseo meme pages. They're great.
Yeah, I don't. Well, technically, I follow the one Geneseo meme page, but I never check Instagram. So,
Rip. All right, well, let's actually get started. Um, I don't know where I got this question because when I looked in the document as I was picking out things from our little like pool of random questions, there was no link or anything. So I have no idea where I got this. But the question is, would you rather have one real get out of jail free card or a key that opens any door? And you may say, well, if I have a key that opens any door and I get arrested, that's problem solved. But you still have
then
to
you're
face the
lying.
consequences. And you will probably give yourself more consequences by opening the door. So that, at first I was like, oh, that's dumb, just pick the key. But then I was like, wait a second. So just putting that out there for everybody. You can either commit a crime and just get it wiped off the face of the earth, or you can open any door but still have to face the consequences of what opening that door might do.
Yeah, I mean, my immediate thought was, well, obviously the key that opens any door, right? Because like getting out of jail free, I don't really have intentions of committing a crime. I'm not a crimey person.
But here's the thing: if I knew I could commit one crime and get away with it, I would do something. Like, I would find some way to redistribute the wealth of Jeff Bezos.
Oh yeah.
Like, I would make my one count. It's like how everybody who paid $8 for Twitter verification and then is now tanking the stocks of like Lockheed Martin, they're making it count.
It's satirical.
It's
not real life.
It is the most the way that Twitter is falling apart is one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen in my life. However, if that app goes down before Henry Kissinger dies, I'm going to be very, very disappointed.
Well, so, yeah, I mean, I guess I didn't really think about stealing. It'd be cool to find a way to, like, steal a bunch of money from somebody who does not deserve that money.
Jeff Bezos.
And then...
I would redistribute the wealth of Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk. I would...
especially Elon Musk. I don't know why. I just really...
Because he is the worst kid in any 5th grade class, but he is a grown man with billions and billions of dollars.
Well, and it's like... So, Mackenzie Scott, the ex-wife of Jeff Bezos...
Yes.
So in the split, she got, like, billions of dollars. And... in the short time that they haven't been together, she has donated more of that money to charity than Jeff Bezos has in his entire life. Like, so it's possible. And she's still a billionaire.
Yeah.
She just gave some insane amount of money a few weeks ago to the Girl Scouts. I can't remember. It was, like, in the millions of dollars.
This is, like, kind of terrible, but how funny would it be if Jeff Bezos gets hit by a Tesla? Like, that's how Jeff Bezos gets taken out. Like, the Tesla autopilot fucks up and runs over Jeff Bezos.
Yeah, I was trying to think of a way to work it in that Elon Musk gets in trouble for it, but...
Yeah.
Like, go to jail.
Yeah, that'd be great. I would be a huge fan of that. But yeah, if I was going... I don't necessarily know that this is my answer, but... if I were to pick the one get-out-of-jail-free card, because I am not inclined... I mean, I make a bunch of jokes about committing crimes because I think it's funny, but I don't think I'm particularly inclined to commit any major crimes in real life, so if I was going to take that opportunity, I would make it count.
Yeah.
But I still don't know if that's necessarily my answer.
Yeah, because... well, and then I was thinking about the key... and wondering, like, at what point in my life has there been a locked door that I wish I was able to open that I couldn't open it? I couldn't think of a single instance, like, except, like, if I accidentally got locked out of my office or something.
Yeah.
But in which case, I'd still have to have that key on me. So.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I thought really hard. I'm like, man, what... has there ever been a time where that has happened, aside from accidentally getting locked out of places that I have a key for?
Yeah, and I mean, maybe I'm just not thinking big enough, but I kind of can't think of anything, like, of much I would use that for either.
Yeah, except crime.
Yeah, except crime. And then I still have to deal with, like, and I still have to worry about getting caught.
Yeah, because, like, the only way that you would need a key like that is for locked doors that you don't have a key for and aren't supposed to be in, which is why they're locked.
Yeah.
So, right, it's like, oh, I would use it to go on a late night trip to the zoo and hang out with the animals. It's like, yeah, you're gonna get arrested for that.
I mean, if you're already, like, a detective or whatever, this might be helpful for you, but I'm not.
Yeah. Yeah, that would just be handy, but still probably you'd be legally entering to, like, search someone's
Very possible.
place.
So I think I'd have to go with the one actual get-out-of-jail-free card.
Yeah, I mean, I started off thinking about I was like, yeah, probably the key, but seeing as I can't think of a single use for it, but
Mm-hmm.
I could imagine a good use for a get out of jail free card.
And this is the only time I could think of, oh, key that opens it, like, that would only be useful to me in a video game.
Mm.
Like, that's,
Because in video games you sort of commit crimes.
yeah, like, a lot. Like, that's
Yeah.
the only time that would be useful to me, is, like, in, like, a video game world.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't think of a single time when that would be useful.
I can't either. I mean, like, it'd be nice to only ever have to worry about carrying one single key, like, for, like, my car, my house, my parents' house, like, everywhere. It would be nice, but I think the one get out of jail free is a
Yeah.
better deal.
And I think the key's kind of a lot of pressure because if you lose that thing,
Oh, shit, yeah.
which, I misplaced my office keys several months ago and I tore the entire world apart, it feels like, looking for them, and I never found them. I know exactly what happened to them, that I had accidentally left them in the bathroom. I sat them in the bathroom, like washing my hands or whatever, and walked out without them. And then when I went back to get them, they were gone, and no one ever turned them in. So imagine doing that with a key.
That can open any door.
You know,
I can
like
imagine
you know
that being a problem.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that does sound like a lot of, yeah, one real get out of jail free card. I'm just gonna make it really count.
Yeah, yeah, you have to spend a lot of time thinking it through, imagining possibilities, kind of like, imagining what the consequences of each one would be in terms of like how much good could I do maybe, or
Yeah.
and then just choose accordingly.
Or alternately, how much fun would this be?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, oh man, there's so much potential.
Right? Yeah. I feel like it has to be one real get out of jail free card. Unless you're like already like a cat burglar and you're really good at your job.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have much use for it.
Yeah, I mean, there's a slight chance I would use it for violence, but more than likely not.
I am fascinated as to what could make you get violent.
Oh, you gotta know who I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
Because, like, that was immediately, when I first read the question, that was immediately where my mind went. It was like, okay, who would I like to injure and or kill?
Oh, damn. Yeah.
It's just like, if you're gonna go for a get out of jail free crime, you gotta go high.
Yeah, no, you gotta make it, you have to make it count.
Big ticket item.
Yeah. That is yeah, you are so right. Anyway, before we say anything incriminating.
I know, right?
Here's one that I just came up with on the spot that I was actually really proud of because I think it's a good question. Each of us, we each have to take up one of the other person's hobbies. Which one are we picking?
So I have a question about this, though.
Yes, hit me with it.
Question. So, does it have to be a hobby that we ourselves are actually interested in and might actually do but haven't got around to yet? Or is it a thing that we might not actually be interested in but we kind of wish we were because we think it would be cool if we were interested in it?
I mean, it could be either one. Like specify. I guess specify. Like, oh, I wish I would do this. I wish I was interested in it, or I would do this because this actually sounds interesting to me in real life. Maybe I will someday.
I mean, because, like...
I mean, you can answer both. You can have different answers for both versions of that question.
Well, but, like... So, like, the fan fiction stuff.
Yes.
Like, I don't know, it just... You don't really know why you're drawn to certain things and not other things. You just, like some things and you don't. I don't know why. It doesn't call to me as a hobby. But I kind of wish it did.
Yeah,
I feel like that'd be fun. Like, to be part of the community and, complimenting each other on your fan fiction and being part of this whole thing. Sounds nice.
Okay, then then let's do both of those. One that's, like, maybe it sounds nice, but, like, you actually have to do one. Which of the things that I do are you picking? Like, because I'll try and do both for the stuff that you enjoy doing as well, but, like, Okay, yeah. So getting into fan fiction, if you liked it, that would be cool. One of my actual hobbies, if you are going to physically have to do it, are you picking? So like video games, biking, cosplay, cross stitch.
Well, do the musicals count?
Just listening to musicals.
Playing to musicals, I don't know. Cross stitch then, because I've actually attempted.
That's fair. That is very fair. I think of ones that I actually have to do. I would probably pick knitting
Yeah. Well,
because
because you've also
I have
attempted
attempted that, and it's not that I didn't like it. It's just it seems a little. It still seems a little daunting to me.
Yeah, I had a false start or two where I, started it and I was like, this is too difficult, and then I put it aside and like eventually I was like, all right, let me try that again.
Yeah. One I would actually do, maybe would pick up someday, knitting. One that I like, kind of wish I was. I feel like I'm only thinking of like two things, which makes me like I feel like a horrible friend for it.
Is the other one you're thinking of running?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like that's my type of personality.
It feels so mean asking, do you do anything else? But like, girl, do you?
Well, because those two things take up such a huge portion
Well,
of my
I
time.
mean, yeah, fair enough.
I mean, I have lots of little like craft type hobbies.
I think
Because
we're
I got
both
my
pretty crafty people.
yeah, like I got my whole like quilting set up back
Actually,
there.
funny thing, one of the things I did at work today, it felt very arts and craftsy. We were like weaving rope together to make new bumpers for the tugboat, and I was having a fucking blast. Like so many people complaining about it. They're like, "Oh my god, who wants to go weave? Like, who wants to go do this?" I was like, me. Please hand me the ones that you don't want to finish. I'll do it." I was having so much fun at work.
Yeah, it's kind of funny that sometimes like so we have a work study student in the department
hmm
and they're always trying to get us to like, oh yeah, give them the like, the menial work. And I'm like, sometimes I just want to cut up some paper.
Yeah, like some. What if I want to shred this stack of documents? You ever think of that?
Yeah. Yeah, they're like, oh no, the work study student can do that. You have better things to do. I'm like, what if I don't want to do
What if I don't want to do the better things?
what if I am more interested in just watching this paper go through the shredder and make a fun noise?
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I guess from where I stand currently, I obviously don't like the idea of being interested of like taking up running because it sounds like it absolutely sucks, and I've tried to make myself take it up, and I've hated it. But you do seem to be having a good time. So maybe if I was that type, yeah, okay. Knitting is the one that that I could feasibly do, that I feasibly could wind up taking up in the future. Running, absolutely never gonna do that, but you seem like you're having a good time. It'd be nice if I was like that.
Well, it's the same sort of thing with like me and your fan fiction, right? It's like running is similar in that there's like a whole community around it,
Yeah.
right? And this whole like esoteric knowledge part of things. And
I'm sorry. Esoteric knowledge?
yes.
Explain.
Oh, esoteric just means sort of like,
No, I mean,
in-group.
what do you consider the esoteric knowledge?
Well, no, I mean, so there's like, there are jokes amongst runners, like things that you only get from running long distances and experience, and
Oh,
um,
I can think of a joke that exists among a really good inside joke that exists among fan fiction writers. In people's author's notes on AO3 in particular, there's always things like, "Hey, sorry this chapter is late. I was in the mental hospital for a month. Here you go. Enjoy." Or like, "Hey, sorry, just trying to get this uploaded during the hurricane before my internet goes." Like, they're insane.
Well, see, in both there's like, and also in terms of esoteric knowledge, there's like the terms and stuff that people from the outside don't know.
This is true. I did try.
Yeah, right. So you had your whole PowerPoint full of stuff, and then in the running community, we can talk about things like shoe drop, and people aren't going to know what that means unless they're like,
Yeah, I sure as hell don't.
yeah, right. So that's the thing. They both have like those similarities.
All right, yeah.
So I think that the kind of community part of things and being part of something is appealing for both of those in a similar way.
I dig it. Yeah.
Not necessarily the activity itself, but what's around it is appealing.
Yeah. I would say that's a very fair assessment. Check our time here.
Parallel in that way.
Yeah. Um. Yeah, you know what? Let's just keep chugging right along. Um. This is also one that I kind of just came up with while just thinking about random things. Has a piece of media ever legitimately changed your life? Which is like a little bit deep, but I think it's good for us to do that on this podcast occasionally.
Yeah, I read the question yesterday. I think it
Oops.
was yesterday. My sense of time blends together. But I was like, oh, it's good that I read that in advance because that's something I feel like requires some thinking, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And then I forgot to think about it.
Oh, cute.
But like my immediate thought is not like a like really specific piece, but like when I was in high school and I first started hearing music that would like sort of fit into the punk genre,
Yeah.
or just like at all hearing music that was not part of the mainstream, like that put me on a completely different course in my life.
No, I
Where I
mean, yeah,
went
that's
from,
what, like, my answer is really specific, but, like, yeah, that's totally fair.
I went from being like into boy bands and then to punk rock.
I love that
Just
for
for
you.
like, but I do I can point to actually I can point to a specific song
Hit me with it.
now that I think about it, because this was the era where like Blink-182 was first kind of on the scene, and then there were other bands like Sum 41, which were similar in music, in terms of like genre, but they were like in the mainstream at that point. But there was a song that they were playing music video on MTV here and there, like during commercial breaks, because it was on the soundtrack for an MTV original movie. This is a very different time in the MTV world.
Oh, yeah.
But it was a song called All My Fault by a band called Phoenix TX.
Interesting.
Um, which I really loved it,
I
and
will be
nobody
writing
knew
that down.
it. And like everybody talked through like, oh yeah, I've never heard of them before, and so I went and I bought the CD. This is 20 something years ago. So I went out and I bought the CD and I got obsessive with it, and so I'm not going to ramble about this forever. But
I
that
would love to
became
hear
like,
you ramble about this forever. Please.
but that became like my introduction to like not so much mainstream music and trying to like roll on from there. And what really cemented things was, so shortly after that I met the guy that I dated all through high school,
Mm-hmm.
and in the early days we were just talking on the phone a lot, because
That's so
he lived
cute.
in well, because he lived in the next town over in West Virginia, so we didn't live in the same town.
West Virginia. Sorry.
I'm half West Virginian.
I love it.
That's where my dad's family is, all of them.
Hell yeah.
But we were on the phone at one point, and I had my stereo on in the background, and the Phoenix TX CD was playing. And I'll never forget the moment where he said, "Is that Phoenix TX I hear?"
Oh
And
my
I just like
god.
lost it. And so that became a whole thing of each of us finding music and like sharing it and going to concerts together. And
That's so cute.
I got to see New Found Glory and meet them in person by waiting outside the venue. It was a golden age in my life, but it
Aww.
definitely like changed my entire path. Phoenix, by the way, is Fenix.
Noted.
Because if you wrote it down, I assume you probably spelled it as the PH, but
Yeah, I did.
so
Sorry.
we used to jokingly call it Fenix TX.
I love it. Aw, that's adorable. I love that so much. Mine is
Yeah.
more recent in my own personal timeline, and I've probably told you this because I never shut the fuck up about this musical. Listening to the soundtrack for Natasha Pierre and the and the Great Comet of 1812, I can literally like trace how like there is a clear line of direct causation, and it is that I listened to that musical just because I'm a Broadway person. I love musicals. I heard it was people were talking about it, so I listened to that and I was like, oh shit, like this is one of the best things I've ever heard in my life. So I started attempting to read War and Peace, and I was like, oh, this is cool. I want to learn more about and I didn't finish the book because I didn't. I just went in completely blind, which was such a stupid idea. And I do actually want to return to it at some point and maybe like take some notes and do a little Googling beforehand. But I attempted to read War and Peace, and I was like, oh, like I'm interested in some of the peripheral stuff here, like the just like the culture at the time. I was like, and then when I was at Geneseo, I was like, oh, they're offering a Russian class, like that's kind of cool. And then I kept taking Russian classes, and I was like, oh, this is fucking awesome. So I went to study abroad, and that was like the best experience of my life because I listened to that musical at the time that I did.
Isn't it funny how we both like it's music?
Yeah.
Because I tried to think like I thought maybe you were gonna pick a movie because you're so into movies, like if there was one that you saw that got you really interested and not just like sitting down and enjoying them, but like focusing on the cinematography and that sort of thing.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's
I
where
don't
I
know.
thought maybe. But yeah, I have trouble thinking of like a movie or a TV show that, I mean, certainly ones that were impactful, but none that I would say like changed the direction of
Yeah,
my
I
life.
can think of ones that like shaped me as a person, but
Yeah.
none with such a direct line of like this happened because of this, because of
Yeah.
this, because of this, as
Yep.
listening to that album. Like, as much as I don't talk about it anymore because J.K. Rowling is such a piece of shit, but like, the Harry Potter books and movies, like, shaped me as a person, as a child. And like, one of the reasons I continue returning to Twin Peaks is because like that, it was another thing. Like, I started watching it in high school, and like, maybe I was even like ever so slightly too young for it because like some of the episodes are like, especially in the first season, are really fucking intense. Like they freak me
Yeah.
the fuck out. But like that show like shaped me as I was becoming an adult.
Hmm.
So like, but yeah, none with the direct line of like A to B to C forward as that album.
Yeah. I mean, in a way, it's so weird because I've never actually really thought about it before, but I can look back to that one song and trace the path to the career that I have
That's whack. Yeah, it's yeah.
because it's like because I got so into like underground music and that became such a big part of my identity, and then I decided I wanted to open my own record label with my brother.
Mm-hmm.
Like we talked about it, and so I was like, oh, I'm gonna major in media studies, which was
Yeah.
my major at the time, um, specifically a broadcasting concentration. And I was going to minor in business and music and do the label, but that's how I ended up in the major that I was.
Yeah, there is a direct line of I listened to this one album to I went overseas by myself for the first time. Like overseas for the first time, period. I went to Canada once when I was like 7 and don't remember it.
Yeah.
So like I honestly kind of think of it as like my first time like really leaving the country.
I definitely think, I don't know why, I feel like music does have more potential to have that kind of effect than other types of media.
I don't necessarily know how I would rank things, but at the same time I do kind of understand what you're saying.
Yeah, because again, I mean, it's not necessarily saying that not all types of media can have impact. They can, absolutely, right? But
Mm-hmm.
I think there is something different about music and the kind of like emotions that it evokes.
Yeah.
Because I mean, yeah, certainly particular things like Monty Python, Holy Grail as one example, like huge impact on my sense of humor.
If here's the thing, if you are introduced to Monty Python like specifically like by your dad or your uncle or whatever at a particular age, like if they like start quoting Holy Grail to you at like age 8, it's all over. There's no hope for you. You just have to let it happen.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
continue.
And like, I grew up watching X-Files as it originally aired. That certainly shaped me quite a bit as well.
That also had a massive fucking impact on me in high school. And again, there really isn't a like it caused this to happen in my life, but holy shit, the X-Files like rewired my brain in high school.
Yeah, and that's what led to me reading like every Stephen King book in existence when I was in like middle school. At that point, I kind of haven't read them in, like since then, but
Yeah.
But so it influenced my other media choices, and
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, the X-Files definitely did influence a lot of my other media choices because I was like, ooh, this is a fucking vibe, and like start. Actually, the X-Files is what led me to Twin Peaks eventually
makes sense.
because I was like, ooh, I want more weird '90s TV, and Netflix was like, here you go, thank
Do love
you.
weird night.
It's good stuff. I am honestly, have I made you listen to that album yet?
Um, I think there was an attempt once, but I think we might have also been drinking, and I don't quite remember.
Very possible.
Yeah, something
We will get there at some point. It is also like 2 straight hours of weirdness. I'm so sorry. Because it's like a sung through, like, Les Mis type musical.
didn't. Oh man, like I feel like there's a memory just like right there that I'm not be accessing. But
Was it
didn't
when
we
we
watch?
fell asleep trying to watch Ghost Quartet?
That's what it. That's what the
No,
memory
because
is.
it's by the same playwright.
That's what was in my head because I was like, I have a memory of like we were like laying on the couches in my living room, and there was YouTube on.
Yeah,
the
we
TV.
tried to watch the recording of Ghost Quartet. We both fell
That's
asleep.
what it was.
And for whatever reason, I was like, I woke up and I was like, why is my computer off? I'm like, because you played it on a laptop, dingus. Like, it didn't stay on overnight. Of course it didn't.
Okay.
Big stupid.
Yeah, there was definitely drinking involved.
Oh, 100%.
That's what it was. That was gonna drive me crazy.
Yep. Yeah, no, it's by because that's probably how I attempted to explain it to you, is that this is by the same person who did Great Comet.
Yeah, I believe so. Sounds right.
Ghost Quartet is also awesome. Check it out. Honestly, anything by Dave Malloy. The man knows what he's doing with weird, surrealist, non-linear, kind of free-versy musicals. Good stuff.
And like I keep pondering the question, but yeah, I can think of so many things that had an impact, but nothing that actually like set my life on a course like that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I completely get what you mean. That's technically the last thing we have written down for today, but we've also only been going for like 40 minutes, and that's kind of weak sauce in my opinion.
So true.
So true, bestie. Do we want to try and come up with anything on the spot? Do we just have anything else to say?
I saved a meme that I was gonna put in the doc, and then I forgot to put it in the doc, and I don't remember what it was.
Sweet, I love a good meme. Hit me with it.
I gotta find it first.
Actually, you know
because I have so many. Oh, there it is. I was about to say I have so many memes saved in here. So this meme I can I'll send it along for you to post or whatever. Actually, I was trying to think of the simplest way to send it right now. I'm just gonna text it to you.
Okay.
So it's a screen cap that says, "How long could a doctor leave you in an exam room before you considered like popping your head out to ask what's going on?" For me, I think about 7 hours. But like, this is something I've actually struggled with.
No, for real. Like, you're so right.
Like, because I've been left for long periods of time.
Oh, you know, I've been left for like 45 minutes.
Oh, I think my top time was almost 2 hours.
Oh, I would ask. I would ask after like an hour.
Well, they popped in after about an hour, and they were like, "Hey, sorry, we're like really backed up today. Well, we didn't forget you. We're gonna come." I'm like, "Okay." An hour later.
Okay, if it was an hour with nothing, I would ask.
Yeah. Well, in one
Think
time
about
when I was
7 hours. Sorry, like that's so relatable.
One time when I was like 12 or 13, I'd gone to the doctor, and my mom came in the room with me.
Mm-hmm.
And we were one of the last appointments of the day, and we're sitting in there forever, and we're like, when is the doctor coming in? And then they turned off the lights. They forgot we were in there.
Oh my god. Oh no.
Like, so that kind of scarred me a little bit. So now I'm always like, have they forgotten me?
No, yeah, that would stick with me. That would stick with me.
And there was also the time after I got my tonsils out when I was 22, and they lost me because their normal post-op recovery was full. So somebody put me in an empty room in the pediatric ward, like in a part of the ward that wasn't being used at that time, and didn't tell anybody.
Baby
So
girl.
I woke up entirely alone in this pediatric room, all the like the kid decorations and stuff. Like, where the hell am I? And then nobody came for a long time, and I'm like, is this like The Walking Dead? Like at the beginning of the series, where like he wakes up and no one's there because
Oh, I've never watched The Walking Dead.
Sorry?
I've never watched The Walking Dead.
Oh, I mean, that's literally like within the first few minutes of the first episode. He wakes up in a hospital and there's nobody around, and it's because the zombie apocalypse happened while he was in a coma.
Oh, shit.
So, so I wake up and there's nobody around, and I'm laying there for a long time, and I'm like, I don't think I'm supposed to get up and move around or anything.
Has it happened?
Yeah, right? And then finally someone came in the door and was like, oh, there you are. How did you get down here? I'm like, how am I supposed to know?
No, oh my god. Actually, did I ever tell you why I never bothered watching The Walking Dead?
I can't remember.
Because, like,
I feel like you have.
I had a bunch of friends who were into it in high school. And, like,
Yeah.
they would talk about it all the time, and, like, they would go to each other's houses to, like, watch as it aired. But as they were talking about it, all they would do was complain about how downhill it had gone. So I was like,
I feel like that's the way people talk about TV these days. Like, it's all criticism.
but I was like, why? Like, why? At this point, would I bother?
Yeah. Because I feel like all the new Doctor Who's, not Doctor Who, wow, all the new Star Trek series, that's all people ever do is complain about them. And Doctor Who, people are always complaining, oh, then it's not what it
People
used
also
to be.
bitch about Doctor Who because Jodie Whittaker's a woman.
Well, yeah, but I mean, they've been doing it, I think, more since she has been Doctor, but, like, it was going on before that as well. People,
Oh,
and,
yeah.
like, Game of Thrones, like, the final season, everyone, So I feel like people always do that.
I mean, people always do that, but, like, it
Negative.
felt particularly egregious.
Yeah. People are just too negative. I don't get it.
I mean, I love critiquing things as much as the next girl. Oh, you know what I watched? You know what Kyle and I watched last night? We watched that movie Smile.
Oh, yeah, I saw it was on Paramount Plus now.
It's kinda ass.
I had a feeling.
I'm not gonna lie. Like, I'll give it to, they had a couple cool visuals. I will 100% give that to them. They had some cool unsettling imagery in there. Alright. But just, oh my god, relies so much on jump scares and just, like, the weakest, just, like, fake deep, like, oh, it's really about trauma. Like, get fucked.
Yeah, I thought about watching it, but then I thought, I have a lot of other things that are higher priority.
Yeah, no, not worth it in my personal opinion. Although I do, and I will link this, I do love the Letterboxd review that I saw that was like, oh, it's full of jump scares and has a vague, fake, deep plot about trauma. This is gonna eat at 12-year-olds' birthday sleepovers. And yes, it is. Like that, what the hell was it? Lights Out?
Oh, yeah, I never
That has,
saw that.
again, saw that, wasn't that good. It was, Lights Out was a short film first, and it was quite good.
Oh, I saw the short film.
The short film is really good.
Yeah, that's right.
But yeah, but like, it is perfect, like, 13-year-olds who want to scream in their mother's basement.
Yeah.
Like, it has its place. I will give it that. But in my opinion, really not that good.
Good to know. I'm always behind on movies. I always have such a long list and I never watch any.
That's her. But, it was something to do on a Tuesday night.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fine.
The thing is, though, and here's the thing that just, like, annoys me, like, jump scares are cheap, but they always fucking work on me. They always work on me. when there's like a silent room and you know that's like they're gonna do so, like even if you like if it's so obvious they're like, oh yeah, I know they're gonna do something, it makes me so tense.
That's the idea.
That is very much the idea.
What actually happens, the adrenaline, into your bloodstream.
And again, I think it's such a cheap way to get the reaction from your audience. I think you need to, in my personal opinion, you need to earn it.
Yeah, gotta have some story.
But it works on me. It works really well on me. And that bothers me a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, it was, I just watched the movie for this week's stream, which by the time this post will have been the movie we discussed the previous week. But,
yes.
Which is 13 Ghosts. I was like, there's a time I work out. But it had me sort of like reflecting on. It's sort of interesting with horror films. Apparently now we're just talking about horror films. But
fine by me. I can always talk about horror films.
Yeah. I think one of the interesting things about them is the way that, I think more so than like any other genre of film, there are such clear timeline trends about like, this is what's scary now, and this is what's scary now.
Yeah, I think this Smile in particular felt like it very clearly felt post It Follows. Like this was so clearly made after It Follows was already like a popular genre film.
But even just the name of it, like that's been a trend recently of having like really short titles, like one word, maybe two.
Men.
Nope.
Yeah. Get Out, Us.
Yeah. Which I really think Jordan Peele has something to do with it too. Like that it's sort of them.
The Man has been popping off, so like I kind of get people being like, "Ooh, that's working. Like let's try that."
Yeah, but there seems to be like again more so than any other genre that's like now this is the time where we use one-word titles.
Yeah,
and then it'll be gone eventually. If you go back to like Nightmare on Elm Street, there was some of these long titles and.
Yeah, and you do have your outliers like Scream.
Yeah.
But like,
I know what you did last summer.
Nightmare on Elm Street, I know what you did last summer. Friday the 13th. Like, things got wordy.
Yeah, and especially that era of like Scream and I Know What You Did Last Summer. Like, that was a very clear point in horror film history where it was like, we're really into slasher movies right now.
Yeah. Which actually is one of the things I really did like about X. That's not the X, Pearl. One word, one letter even.
Yeah. They win.
But X was like an old slasher movie, but like with substance. Which really good.
Oh yeah, the 90s slasher movies had no substance. And it was like lots of stabby, and then also show as much like skin as possible.
Oh yeah.
Women.
Which again was such an interesting thing about X because they were like, they gave themselves a free pass by being like, oh, these people are being like hunted down while they're trying to shoot a porno. So like they gave themselves a free pass to like show as much skin as possible and like have a reason for like that was really, I love that movie so much. That was really smart.
As a media researcher, that really bothers me.
Fascinating. Please tell me why.
The combination of sex and violence like that, it cultivates an association in people's minds. People learn to associate sex and violence together.
Interesting.
So there's actually been studies about focus on how often, particularly men, watch violent horror films that have that sort of juxtaposition and how likely they are to like, let's just say, be creeps.
Okay, yeah.
That there is that association because it's like anything else. If you see two things paired together repeatedly often enough, that's classical conditioning.
Kuleshov effect.
Yeah, those two things become connected in your head. So if you're always seeing sex and violence, you think like those two things go together.
Here's the thing. You're right. That movie still fucks so hard. I kind of like.
Oh yeah,
I don't care. Like maybe this makes me a terrible. Like maybe this take my media degree away if you think I deserve it after saying what I'm about to say. But like, I kind of don't care, like, what the effect is when I'm watching it, at least.
If you've read some of the research I've read, you might see things a bit differently.
And I mean, I probably would, but in this particular... I don't know. As a trend, do I find it a problem? Yes. As an example, do I find it a problem? Absolutely not.
There's also a link with watching those kinds of movies and acceptance and endorsement of rape myths.
Ooh.
Yeah, there was one particular study where they had this group of guys and they would bring them in and have them watch like R-rated horror films like that, like once a week for a few weeks. And then they told them, like, okay, we're going to have you do this entirely separate study. We're going to make you part of this, like, mock trial because, you know, this other person needs participants and, you know, would you mind coming in? And it was a trial for an accused rapist. And so, like, they were more likely to, like, believe him over the accuser. They were more likely to recommend, like, not guilty verdict over guilty, and they were more likely to recommend shorter prison sentence. Like, they were more likely to say that she was asking for it, you know, stuff like that.
Gross. Okay, well, I mean... So men ain't shit.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, to an extent, you know, I don't want to say it's not their fault, but that's the way the human brain works. You know, they're probably not even aware of what they're saying. Not that that's an excuse, obviously not, but...
Yeah.
So, like I said, I was not going to bring it up, but you asked. And I was like,
I did ask.
Yeah.
This is my own fault. I did ask. Still love X. Sorry. Still great. Still an absolutely banger movie. Were we talking about something else that had to do with horror films? Trends?
No. We were talking about... Hold on, I can trace it back. Because talking about specific... You talked about Smile. That's how we got into this. Actually, how was that connected? Because you just said, you know what, Kyle and I watched last night, but I don't remember how that... I don't know if that was connected to anything.
That's just us adding runtime.
Oh, yeah. I don't think there was anything to trace back. I think that's where it started, was just you saying, guess what?
Yeah, okay, that's fine.
I think it's as far back as that goes.
Yeah,
Maybe
I am...
the other people say different.
Although the trends that I, like... He did make an interesting point last night that he called Smile very Gen Z horror, which was very interesting to me, because he was like, yeah, it's for people that are already, like, overstimulated. And I was like, interesting. Like, just the, like, abundance of, like, jump scares that don't even necessarily, like, that don't mean anything. Like, it's like, oh, someone has a night, like, someone, like, wakes up after, like, having a vision or whatever, but then it immediately cuts to, like, a car blaring down the road. I'm like, come on, man. Yeah.
It's for the TikTok generation.
Precisely.
Yeah. You're just jumping between things so quickly.
You gotta earn your jump scares. Hereditary does it so well.
Yeah, I feel like they gotta have a purpose.
Yeah. Alien also it's not even necessarily a horror movie, but Alien has one of the most well-earned, well-executed jump scares I have ever seen in a movie. Good shit.
I think, like, the movie Saw also set off a whole new generation in horror.
It definitely did. I don't know about the series as a whole. I actually genuinely really do want to watch the first Saw movie, because even if it is kind of like torture porn-y, I do really respect it as the way that a bunch of broke film students found to work around having to pay for an ensemble cast and multiple shooting locations. Like, they did that, and they spawned a whole franchise and this whole genre of, like, this whole, like, subgenre of horror. I respect that. That is, even if it's not something I love, that is worth my time. Like, that is worth watching. That is worth my time. In my personal opinion, as someone who wants to watch more of the, like, horror canon.
Yeah, I mean, I remember when that movie came out, think I saw the first two in theaters actually. Um, but like thinking that it was so much like cleverer than horror movies before it, because this is coming off the tail of again slasher era, where it was
And I am
just
not anti. I am not, again. That's how we got to X. I am really not anti-slasher.
yeah, yeah. I mean, but like compared to just movies of a guy with a knife chasing around young women primarily,
Mm-hmm.
to have something like that where you actually have these clever scenarios put together that are, you know, sort of tricky to like what would I do in that situation? Ones that actually had thought behind them
Mm-hmm.
that
Yeah.
made you think as well. I think that that kind of people realize like, hey, maybe we expect more
Yeah.
than just dude with knife, because that was like most of horror up to that point.
Yeah.
Like even Texas Chainsaw Massacre, guy with chainsaw.
That's another long title.
Yeah, yeah.
Honestly, we should watch X sometime though, because the prequel is even better in my personal opinion.
Hmm.
Pearl is so good. It's so good. I love that movie. I need to see it again.
Yeah, I just never watch movies. I just don't have time.
No, I feel that. Like, and the worst thing is so many times I'm like, "Ugh, am I really gonna pay attention to a 2 hour movie?" And then I'll binge a show for like 7 hours.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm like, why
Exactly.
am I like this?
But a movie feels like such a commitment.
I know. There has to be some scientific reason why that is.
And I'm part of that Cinemark movie club, you know, where it's like whatever amount per month and you get like a ticket and like discount on concessions and stuff like that. So you get one movie ticket a month. I have 12 tickets currently in my account. And I've even
Girl.
used like ones for other people. Like, you know, when I visit my parents, I've gone to the movies with them and I use buy credit. So I've used like 3 at a time a couple of times. And I still have 12. I don't
Girl.
go like,
We gotta start going to movies.
yeah, I gotta use up. Fortunately, they've announced a recent thing where you can take some of those movie credits and convert them into like concession stand credits.
Okay, that's nice.
So, yeah, I'm gonna figure out how to do that. But like, I just never have time, and there's always stuff at the theaters where I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go see that, and then by the time I start to get around to it, it's not in the theater.
Oh, one thing I really wanted to see in theaters, but we did not wind up having time, was that Fire of Love, which is like a National Geographic documentary about these two like like volcanologists who like I don't know what like incident this was, but they like died in like when a volcano erupted. But there's like all this insane footage, and like they were married.
Mm-hmm.
It just looked so good, but it's on Disney Plus now. So hopefully I'll be watching that soon. But
That sounds very sad. And I was about to make a Star Trek joke. Probably didn't know.
Oops.
This volcanologist.
No, yeah, you're so right.
That was another movie trend in the 90s. Volcano movies.
Oh, Dante's Peak, baby.
Mm-hmm. Great movie.
Great movie indeed.
Wonderful stuff.
I think I might have that on my shelf right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think
I'm
so.
actually surprised you've even seen that one.
I have seen it because we watched it as like part of a thing for my 8th grade earth science class. We like watched it and like pointed out inaccuracies.
Yeah, yeah, I know. There was also a movie just called Volcano, and for the rom-com fans, there's Joe versus the volcano.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, Tom Hanks. Meg Ryan, I believe. Am I making that up? I might be making up the actors.
Interesting.
Now I don't trust myself because I haven't seen it since the 90s. So.
Well, there you go. Yeah, disastrous weather / earth event movies had a hot moment.
Yeah. Oh no, I wasn't making that up. Man, they've been in a lot of movies together.
Oh yeah.
That's why I was like, I must be mixing it up with one of the other movies they've been in together.
Just a lot of movies together.
It was Meg Ryan, Tom Hanks, 1990.
Wow.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
Yeah, man. how many rom-coms? I can think of at least 3 that they've done together.
That's okay. Well, there's that. There's Sleepless in Seattle.
Yeah. One that's more recent than those 2, but not recent, just more recent.
I don't know.
You've Got Mail.
That one I have not seen.
Yeah, it's real cheesy.
Shocker.
Which, one of my favorite things now is watching movies that at the time featured like state-of-the-art computer technology, or just stuff that wasn't state-of-the-art but like, real modern technology. And like that one is based on them sending emails back and forth and not knowing who each other is, and getting a little AOL sound, "You've got mail."
Amazing. No, it's always funny when I see in like any old movie, they're like, "Oh, look at this like stereo and this giant rack of CDs." I'm like, nice. But like it looks so modern at the time.
Yeah. Oh man, one of the movies I watched over and over as a kid was Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead. Just an absolute classic movie. But at one point they use a bunch of money to buy this like state of the art. It's from like the late '80s. They buy this state of the art like big screen TV, like stuff, and I'm like, oh my god, look at it.
This is like a weird example of that, but like in American Psycho in particular, because they're supposed to be like, oh, like the like top of the upper class, super rich, like can get whatever they want. Like seeing all the like what was considered at the time like the most top of the line like CD player.
Yeah.
Like that's just like what? Come on.
The fact that that's top of the line.
Yeah, that absolutely kills me.
There's a lot of
kills me.
Yeah, I could do examples of that all day, but I think at some point on the stream we should do the movie The Net, because
based on the title, I am sold.
Sandra Bullock.
Sold even more.
And I haven't, like, it's been long enough since I've seen it, I don't remember a lot of the specifics, so it would be kind of like almost new for me. But, like, she's a computer whiz who's, like, getting framed for something, and the whole thing is, like, her trying to prove her innocence, but they've done all these fancy computer things to make it, like...
I'm already like, so... No, do you know what this movie is? It's, like, some fucking movie, and it's the kid from the Wonder Years, and there's like a Nintendo glove. Some video game movie from the 90s.
Video game movie with Fred Savage in it?
I guess. I don't know. I'll Google it later. But it's like
no, I'm like looking up.
But it's like, oh, this little like it has like the old joystick controllers. It's like, oh, this is the coolest, most modern thing. I'm like, that's cute.
I'm trying to remember. Oh, I mean, that's like watching Tron.
Precisely.
Which is just excellent.
I love that kind of stuff. It's such a vibe.
Yeah, 95 is when The Net came out. I am convinced that 1995 is like the golden year of films, because so many of the best movies come out in 95.
I'll buy that.
I don't know why.
I believe it. I can't even think of a film that came out in 1995 off the top of my head, but sure.
I think it's one of those things where you don't, like, it's not in your head automatically, but oftentimes when you were looking up movies that you're like, oh, that was a good one, and it turns out that it was.
Was Forrest Gump 1995?
I think it's a little older than that. The Wizard is the movie you were thinking of.
Interesting.
Because it has Fred Savage in it, 1989.
Yeah, it just looks like an old technology cringe fest, and I'm really not against it.
A boy and his brother run away from home and hitch cross country with the help of a girl they meet to compete in the ultimate video game championship.
Hell yes. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Which, absolutely amazing. I mean, I don't know what it is. There's just so many movies that came out in 1995 that I think are just... So every time I see one that's in 95, I'm like, of course it is.
You love to see it.
Although we are entering the month of St. Nicholas Cage.
Oh, St. Nicholas. Again, Kyle did not catch the part of the last stream where we introduced that. I told him that last night, and he was like on the floor. He was like, that is the best idea I have ever heard.
But
God,
2 out of the 4 movies are
97.
97.
God, I'm excited.
What a blessed year.
What a blessed year indeed. Oh, this is gonna be... I'm so excited for St. Nicholas Cage month. You have no idea.
Oh man, I think I have a Santa hat somewhere that I'm just gonna
I
wear.
have one somewhere too. I will 100% wear it every time we do stream for St. Nicholas Cage month.
Oh man, I wonder what I really want is the graphic. I'm gonna very generously call it a graphic that I made. Get it printed on a sheet.
No, you run it through a pixel art filter first, so you can make it into an ugly sweater.
And print it on a sweatshirt like that.
Yes!
Usually do that, because they have there's all kinds of services that do that. Oh my god.
Who are we?
Geniuses, that's who we are. I don't know what that sound was, it just came out of me.
We've peaked.
Yeah, with St. Nicholas Cage month, that's gonna be...
Yeah.
Wait, I was like, why did I bring that up in the first place? Oh, the 97 thing.
We have truly peaked.
Oh, it's excellent.
It's gonna be real good. I'm extremely excited.
Yeah, I really wanna do it up as much as possible.
Oh hell yeah, we're gonna go all out. I don't even know what that means yet, but it will happen. Yeah. We'll figure out what it means.
Aside from potentially getting ugly Christmas sweaters made.
Incredible, amazing. We'll figure it out. But it's gonna be great either way. Yeah.
So, just a genius idea that occurred to me. I don't think I can actually make this happen, but so the, again, generously named graphic that I've made is Nicolas Cage wearing a Santa hat. I want a Santa hat with that printed on it, and then on that hat, the same image printed, and then like a...
There's gotta be a way. There has to be a way, because they do it on textbooks all the goddamn time. They're always holding the textbook that they are currently posing for the photo of. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I don't know how to make it happen, is the thing.
Someone has to know. We have the World Wide Web at our fingertips.
I mean, I suppose it's easy enough to just generate your own version where you just do the picture smaller and smaller and paste it on there.
Yeah, you just keep zooming in.
And then, but as far as how to get that on a Santa hat is, you
could have that be the ugly sweater design.
Yeah, I suppose.
It's just
an
infinite.
Hat, it's so meta.
It is so meta.
Because you're wearing a hat that has that on it, and then the hats and that have that on it.
There is a website. It's like ironic dad clothing, but there's like a trucker cap that has a hat. Yeah, the hat.
I've seen the hat multiple times. I love it.
It's incredible.
Great piece of headwear.
Also, tell me why my sister owns a trucker hat that has a patch of a mountain goat on it, like with the curled horns, and embroidered next to it in tiny font, it just says horny.
I mean, why wouldn't you have that?
Well, when you put it like that. But why did she leave it at our parents' house? That seems like prime college material. Like, that seems like a thing you should have in college with you.
Very true. Yeah, I don't know.
Wish I understood.
I'm thinking the way to do it is like do one of those printout iron-on things and iron it onto a hat. I don't know if it'll stay.
You could try. You could most certainly try.
I'm gonna try so hard to make these things happen.
You should. Honestly, you 100% should. Alright. I think that's a wonderful, wonderful note for us to conclude on. St. Nicholas Cage month slowly approaches, and we are very excited.
Yeah, because when this episode comes out, it'll be about a week before our first movie.
Oh, perfect! Hell yeah! Look at us go. So we'll probably have gone. We'll have even more plans for it by the time you're actually seeing this. So
Yeah, 6 days from when this is posted, we'll be talking about. Do we want to say the movie?
Face Off. We went with
Yeah,
first.
it's like I don't know if we're revealing. I guess it doesn't matter.
We're doing Face Off first. Very exciting. But we still have at the time we're recording this, we still have other movies to watch.
Yes.
Exciting. So yeah, beautiful place for us to leave it off. St. Nicholas Cage month is coming.
It is nigh.
It is nigh. All right. As always, thank you, friends, for fighting with us. We appreciate each and every single one of you, and we'll be back again next week. See you then. This week's episode of the Fighting with Friends podcast was hosted by Bridget Kelly and Dr. Sarah Brooks. You can find other episodes of the podcast on YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, or your other favorite listening platform. Follow us on Twitter at BridgetKelly98, at Zach Calderon, and at AndSarahSaid. Rate and review us on your podcatcher of choice. Like, comment, and subscribe to us on YouTube. Follow us on Twitch, and join our Discord community using the links in the description. You can also help support us via the Acast supporter feature, or consider donating to our Patreon. Thanks for listening!